We'll now move on to the policies. The first policy we suggest is that there should be public employment services focusing on youth with a lower education level. The main reason is to solve frictional unemployment. As mentioned earlier, frictional unemployment is the time period between jobs when a worker is searching for or transiting from one job to another. The main reason for focusing on youth with low level of education is that this group has been most seriously affected by unemployment. Due to advances in technology, the demand for non-qualified workers are more severely affected. We can see from the table above that those who only passed ISCED 0 to 2 is most affected, as there was around 66% decrease in youth employment for the ages 16 to 24, as compared to those with a higher qualification. And secondly, because the qualified workers take over the positions that have traditionally been occupied by the non-qualified workers, either as a result of an oversupply of labor or due to an increase in the hiring standards of the employers. For this policy, we suggest that firstly, the government should reinforce and improve the effectiveness of the public employment services. A public employment service is a government organization which matches employers to employees. This is to ensure rapid, individualized, and comprehensive attention is provided for people who are looking for a job. It is also of paramount importance to make information as accessible as possible to all those who have given up their studies prematurely and are unemployed, so that they can become integrated into the public employment services circuit of services. By attaining more relevant information about the job market, this policy will then help to improve the frictional unemployment. The next policy suggested is to cut training and education costs. As discussed earlier on, high training costs will result in difficulty of getting workers into the highly skilled industries. Hence, there should be a cutting of training costs so that it is more accessible for people to gain training. The main reason for people to be more accessible to training is that it will make the high-skilled labor market more supply elastic. Because due to the advances in technology, demand for qualified workers is less affected and has a better outlook than the demand of less qualified workers. As seen from the table, the plant and machine operators, elementary occupations, and work related to crafts are the worstly affected ones, which suffers the most drastic decrease in demand from 2008 to 2012. Hence, this means that the higher skilled labor markets are doing much better than the lower skilled ones. Hence, we will need to increase the elasticity of the highly skilled laborers, so when the demand for these qualified workers increases, there will be a higher than proportionate increase in the jobs for the qualified workers. We can see from this graph that by increasing the elasticity of the supply of qualified workers, when the demand for these workers increases, there will be a higher increase in the number of youth employed under the higher skilled occupation, which is indicated by Q2. This is much higher than Q1, which is when the supply of the highly skilled workers are still relatively inelastic. The possible ways to decrease education costs will be for the government to offer subsidies for tertiary education so that more people can be accessible to higher education. The same can be applied in training costs. Government can subsidize more on training courses outside of school so that more people will be able and willing to gain more knowledge and skills. Lastly, it is also proposed that young people who left education prematurely, mainly for the reasons associated with labor market, should be encouraged to go back to studying. It can be done so by offering interesting and attractive alternatives to encourage them to return. Examples will be to offer flexible training courses with the added attraction of income support.